In 2018, videos of a Georgia doctor dancing over unconscious surgical patients went viral. Patients accused her of negligence. The state medical board called her continued practice a threat to public safety. Her license was suspended. Then, 6 years later, an Atlanta television station found her nearly 1,000 miles away inside a Texas medical spa using a different version of her name presented as Dr. Catherine Davis. And she was still holding the needle. How did a doctor with more than a dozen reported malpractice settlements and rulings appear again under a name that didn't reveal her history? Welcome to Fraudology, where we investigate the world's biggest scams, professional deception, and cases hidden behind public reputations. Because every fraud leaves a trail, and we're here to follow it. November 2024, Austin, Texas. A wellness business called Eden Medical Spa. Its website featured an owner, Dr. Catherine Davis, MD. Her biography highlighted medical experience connected to respected institutions. When an undercover producer from Atlanta's WSB-TV sat down for a consultation, the woman told her she'd been performing injections since 1997. She spoke of her experience as a dermatologist and a plastic surgeon. WSB-TV also reported seeing promotional footage of her injecting a patient during an online event, dancing as she worked. There was just one problem. Reporters said they could not locate an active Texas medical license under Catherine Davis, or under the name she was once known by, Wendell Davis Boutte. According to WSB-TV, a Georgia consent order barred her from using titles including physician, doctor, and MD. The station alerted the Texas Medical Board and the Texas Secretary of State. The board wouldn't confirm whether any complaint or investigation existed. Those matters are confidential under Texas rules. But to understand why those questions mattered, the investigation had to go back 6 years to a Georgia operating room and a series of videos that shocked the country. Wendell Davis Boutte practiced dermatology and cosmetic surgery in the Atlanta area. She was also a performer. More than 20 promotional videos were reportedly posted online. They showed her dancing, singing, lip-syncing to hip-hop, playing to the camera during cosmetic procedures. In some clips, patients appeared to be unconscious on the table. Some footage reportedly showed her moving surgical instruments in rhythm with the music. When the videos surfaced in national reporting in 2018, they raised uncomfortable questions about mass, sterility, focus, professionalism, and patient privacy. To be clear, the videos alone didn't prove any patient was harmed, and Boutte defended them. She said the videos were staged, that patients had consented. Some even chose the music. She maintained the videos didn't make procedures unsafe, and in one televised interview, said she wouldn't have done anything differently. But the videos were only the surface, because the medical board's eventual action wasn't really about the dancing. It was about what allegedly happened to the patients. 2016, Atlanta. Isilma Cornelius was weeks away from her wedding when she underwent a cosmetic procedure that included liposuction. During or following that procedure, she suffered cardiac arrest. She survived, but with permanent brain damage. Her son became her caregiver for roughly 7 years, until she died from complications her family and reporting connected to those injuries. CBS reported a detail from court documents that's hard to forget. When the emergency came, the building's elevator was too small for a stretcher. She had to be carried downstairs. Her family filed a malpractice lawsuit. It was reportedly settled for an undisclosed amount. One thing we won't claim, that dancing caused her injury. Her own son said he didn't know whether the doctor had been dancing that day. May 2018, another patient, Sharita Cox. According to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution and the medical board's emergency order, Cox underwent liposuction, breast augmentation, and a Brazilian butt lift. The next day, she was struggling to breathe and bleeding. She was hospitalized with a collapsed lung and anemia from acute blood loss. The board's order stated that Booty did not personally see or evaluate her at a post-operative visit. And these weren't isolated complaints. Other lawsuits and patient statements alleged disfigurement, severe scarring, infections, inadequate post-operative care, allegedly unqualified staff, deficient records. An office environment critics allege wasn't equipped for emergencies. Some former patients said their bodies appeared in online photos or videos without valid permission. These allegations came from different lawsuits, patient interviews, news investigations, and board records, and not everyone was proven in court. But the numbers kept climbing. By June 2018, at least 7 patients had sued, according to national reporting. The board's action addressed 7 patient cases. WSB-TV later reported more than a dozen malpractice settlements and rulings, totaling millions. And years later, an insurer would state in a lawsuit that it had represented her in 28 malpractice cases. Different categories, different cases, one pattern. Allegations are one thing, official findings are another. In June 2018, the Georgia Composite Medical Board issued an emergency suspension of Boute's license, concluding that her continued practice posed a threat to public health, safety, and welfare. The medical consultant had reviewed complaints dating back to at least 2014. The consultant concluded that in the reviewed cases, her diagnosis, treatment, and record keeping failed to meet minimum professional standards. CBS reported the board found she failed to conform to minimum standards in 7 patient cases. By then, she had reportedly settled at least 4 malpractice suits. Later that month, she signed a consent order, an indefinite suspension with the possibility of seeking reinstatement after 2.5 years. Her Georgia medical license was suspended, and the consent order restricted her ability to practice and to use medical titles. Not a criminal conviction, but an official state finding. And it should have been the end of the story. It wasn't. Here's a distinction every viewer of this channel should know. A complaint is an accusation. A settlement resolves a case, often without any admission of liability. A judgment is a court ruling. Regulatory discipline comes from a licensing board. And a criminal conviction, the highest bar, requires proof beyond a reasonable doubt. In this story, the record includes civil settlements, civil judgments, and board discipline, not criminal convictions. At least 4 settlements by mid-2018. Later, per WSB-TV, more than a dozen settlements and rulings worth millions, many terms confidential. The civil trail was long, expensive, and mostly invisible to anyone who didn't know where to look. Which brings us back to Texas. Catherine Davis. It wasn't an invented identity. Catherine is her middle name, Davis her maiden name. Nothing illegal about using them. But here's what WSB-TV's investigation highlighted. Search Wendell Davis Boutte. And the videos, the lawsuits, the board order. It all surfaces instantly. Search Catherine Davis, and none of it does. The discovery reportedly began with a coincidence, a social media friend's suggestion recognized by a former patient's son. WSB-TV's producer booked a consultation. She was presented as Dr. Catherine Davis, MD. She discussed her past work as a dermatologist and plastic surgeon. The spa's website listed her as an owner, and footage showed her injecting a patient at a promotional event. WSB-TV reported that Texas law prohibits promoting yourself as a doctor without a Texas license, and that a licensed doctor must be among a med spa's owners. Reporters said they couldn't find an active license under either name or an active business license for the spa. These are the station's reported findings, not adjudicated conclusions. Texas authorities never announced charges, and the Texas Medical Board would not confirm whether any investigation existed because complaints are confidential. But within weeks, things started to change. November 2024, the story airs. During and after WSB-TV's request for comment, References to Catherine Davis as a doctor and as an owner began disappearing from Eden Medical Spa's website. December 4th, 2024, WSB-TV reported she was no longer treating patients there. The spa emailed clients that Catherine is having some difficulties outside of Eden and is not currently injecting at Eden. Her profile was gone. In that same December, back in Georgia, a DeKalb County judge ordered her to pay $700,000 plus interest and court costs to her former malpractice insurer. The insurer's lawsuit alleged it had defended her in 28 malpractice cases at a $25,000 deductible each. Deductibles, it said, were never paid. She was served in Texas, WSB-TV reported. She never responded. The judge ruled for the insurer. A civil judgment, not a criminal penalty, but one more entry in a very long paper trail. This story isn't really about one doctor. It's about a gap in the system. A medical license is issued state by state. A suspension in Georgia doesn't automatically flash a warning in Texas. Board certification, a license, and a marketing bio are three different things, and a spa website only shows you the third one. In our last line of defense, the Google search only works if you know every name to search. Discipline follows a name, reputation follows a name, but a person can use another one. Here, it took a friend's suggestion and a hidden camera to connect the two. In 2018, the videos made Wendell Davis Boutique famous. The lawsuits and the medical board order made her record public. But 6 years later, under the name Catherine Davis, that history was no longer one Google search away. She had moved from operating rooms in Georgia to injections at a Texas medical spa. And only after another undercover investigation did the website change, the medical titles disappear, and the spa tell patients she was no longer treating them. The videos may have started the story, but the more important question is what happened after the music stopped. Follow the money, expose the truth. This is Fraudology. The biggest scams are the ones you haven't heard about yet. And somewhere another one is unfolding right now. We'll see you in the next investigation.